Thanks everyone. I'm officially stepping down from Davis Cup captaincy. Wally Masur will take over as an interim Davis Cup captain. Lleyton will then fill the spot when the time is right and ready, and that will start off pretty well right now. Wally will take on the first role in the Czech Republic and form his team and run the Davis Cup how he feels it to be run. And obviously, Lleyton being such a dominant part of the Davis Cup team for so long will be a strong assistance with Wally. So that's where we are right now.
Why now, Pat? Is it just I suppose taking over the other role? Did you feel there was...
Yeah. In December this year, in January, leading in, started getting a lot more heavily involved with the job, especially in January, and sitting down during the Brisbane tournament, just running over everything that's got to be done, had to be done, has to be done. Just realised it's a really big job, and I just can't do both roles.
Do you think it frees you up, I suppose, because you'd be dealing with you would have had to have dealt with some of the guys, I suppose, as well, and this gives you carte blanche to deal with them if needs be in another manner?
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of that, but I think we've formed a pretty good relationship as well, and I think we've had this mutual respect. I'm not always telling them what they want to hear, but I think it's the right message sometimes. So I think we sort of respect each other, all the guys in the team, but a lot of it's also to do with you overseeing the academy space and also a lot of the women as well. And I just feel like it's for me to do the role that I need to do, I can't be travelling all over the place in this initial 6 months for sure, and it's got to knuckle down and get everything going in the right direction.
Well, in terms of time, what does interim mean for you?
Exactly that. I think when Pat started to talk to me about this, it was a case of, we've got a former number one as our performance director, and of course Lleyton has an undeniable, link with Davis Cup, and he will be captain one day. So I think it's not the model in Australian tennis to have a playing captain as such. So obviously spoke to Lleyton a few days ago about it, and we've come to that arrangement that he is still a player. He's still got a career to flesh out and see where that ends. And until that happens, I'll be captain. And I think too we've got great stability in the fact that Tony Roach is involved and Josh Eagle, head of men's tennis, is involved, and they've formed really good relationships over the last couple of years with the guys. So having worked with these two in Davis Cup in previous years, for me, when Pat asked me, it was a pretty easy decision to make, because I feel like it helps facilitate these two guys to be involved in the way that they want to be involved, and hopefully make a seamless transition.
Even if it's only interim, Wally, it's a pretty high position in Australian sport, so you must be proud.
Yeah, look, I was involved with John Fitzgerald as coach. I was coach for a number of years, and Fitzy never let me be captain. I've never forgiven him for that. But no, and look, I've got to say, the best memories I have of tennis is playing Davis Cup and then being involved, and these guys were a big part of the team when I was involved with Fitzy. So, look, you're right, absolutely, even though I'm involved in an interim fashion, and it certainly wasn't the way that I accepted the Davis Cup role in the first place. But yeah, you're right. It's very important in terms of Australian tennis, and pretty lucky to have Lleyton, who's just been the backbone of the team for so long, and that he wants to be involved going forward. That Pat wants to be involved as a performance director. If you look at the other countries, it's almost unique, and it kind of says something about the fraternity of tennis players in this country that they do.
What does this say about your future and specifically 2016 Australian Open?
I've thought long and hard, and I plan to play the Aussie Open next year, and yeah, for me, the main focus is Davis Cup, and then obviously the grass court season after that.
So maybe you'll skip the French, or you'll.
Most likely. Most likely.
It's not my fault.
What's that?
How is the body holding up in terms of the next year? You know, not playing in France. Like, how do you see yourself? Just kind of, is it? Do you have to kind of nurse yourself through this year to make sure that you can?
No, my body's fine. It's as I said, I think I trained harder than probably anyone in the off season. You know, I had probably the longest pre-season ever. You know, probably 3 months, and yeah, the body feels great at the moment, and that's the only reason why, you know, I want to keep playing, and you know, I'm excited about the prospect, obviously, of still being able to play Davis Cup. You know, I've been waiting a while for, you know, these young guys to come and for us to have an opportunity of going deep, and I think we have a real shot at obviously trying to upset Czech away from home. It's not going to be easy, but you know, I give us a real good opportunity there.
Any more questions? How would you rate your time as Davis Cup captain? When you started, we were out of the World Group. Now we're back in the World Group. So, how would you assess your time as captain?
Oh, for the first few years was certainly a learning curve, and just trying to get that relationship with the guys. I'd been out of the game for quite a while, and just sort of stepping back into it was interesting. And then I guess it's had its ups and downs, you know, just with the different players and me trying to stamp some sort of authority, which sort of backlashed on me a little bit. But I always expected the guys to work hard, train hard, and then we can play hard after as well, and enjoy it, because Davis Cup should be enjoyed, but you also play in a team environment, and I felt like all the guys put in pretty well, and I formed some really good relationships and friendships with the guys and got to know them really well on a level which is some good and some bad. So I think at the end of it, I hope that we can sit down and have a beer with the guys in 10 years' time.
Wally, do you think Pat has kind of weathered the storm in a sense there? That you know, he's gone through these tough times, and now you jump in, and relationships are great. We're going to face.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because the last time I took over the role, we had Rafter, Philippoussis and Hewitt and the Woodies, so we were doing okay. Timing in life is everything. So I feel like we've actually got a chance to win the whole thing, which is pretty much why I talked Pat out of the role and talked myself into it. And I think it's important too that those young guys have someone a bit more contemporary to deal with over the course of the Davis Cup fortnight.
Just on some of those young guys, I mean, team selection, is it becoming even more difficult now?
Yeah, but in a positive way. Absolutely in a positive way. And yeah, you go through that process. There's still a few tournaments to be played for some of the guys prior to the Davis Cup in March. So you assess those events and see where everybody's at health-wise, and we have to make a decision. And of course, Tony Roach and Josh Eagle aren't here, but they'll be a big part of that as well. And as Pat mentioned earlier too, just given Lleyton's role within the team, you know, it's going to be someone that we bounce ideas off too.
Have all the guys put their hands up to play the next time? Have all the guys put their hands up to play the next time?
Yep, they have.